webinar is about computer security threats, and these are the topics that we would be quickly covering in today's webinar about computer security threats, the basics of computer security, the consequences of ignoring the computer security. So what happens basically when you ignore the security threats of your device, of your computing device, and what could be the repercussions of the same. The third important part is the threats that harm your computer. Those threats, we would talk in detail about what those threats are. How do bad guys compromise your computer security? So here we are talking about people with malicious intent who do things to compromise the security of your computing device. Computer security actions. Here we would be talking about actions that you need to take about your computer security. And then most importantly, how Quick Heal cares for your computer security. These are the topics that we'll be discussing today. This is a time for a poll. Let me bring up today's poll for our audience. The question that I would like to ask you is, what comes to your mind when you read the term or when you see the term computer security? So I would like to know from today's audience. I'll repeat the question. What comes to your mind when you read the term computer security? Is it the hardware, the physical computer security, or are we talking about the security software, or are we talking about both the hardware as well as software security? What comes to your mind, people? Please cast your vote and tell us, what do you think? What does come to your mind when we say the word computer security? Hardware security, the security of your computer physically, the security of your software, or both? So we have approximately 60-70% of today's audience casted the vote. I would give another 10 more seconds for people to vote into today's opinion poll, and then I would close the poll and declare the results. Okay, I think I'll now close the poll and share with you what the results are of today's opinion poll. So 59% of today's audience feels that yes, both the security of your hardware as well as software is necessary when you talk about computer security as a whole. Very correctly said, audience. Indeed, it is both the security of your hardware device as well as software device. Now, why did I say that? Is something we would like to see as this webinar proceeds. So let's get the show going on. The computer security basics. So computer security is protection of computing system and data that they store or access. Now, what we are talking about? We are talking about two things. We are talking about the data, and we are talking about accessing the data. So the data is meant for the user of that computer, and the access should also be only to that user of the computer. Any unauthorized access or any unauthorized taking away of the data or accessing the data or using that data breaches computer security. So this is the basics of it. Why is computer security so important? It enables people to carry out their jobs. You might be a student, so education is something that you would be using your computer for. Professionals would be using for their professional office work. Researchers use it for their research and other activities. Computers support critical businesses, so business processes in various companies and organizations, and it protects personal and sensitive data information. So as you can see on the screen, also software cannot protect itself. It cannot protect by itself. You need to act upon a few things so that it increases or enhances the level of security. Networks can be better protected than software. Let's move on. Primary reasons to secure your computer. What could be the primary reasons? First is to prevent the theft or damage to the hardware, the physical computer. Second, to prevent the theft or damage of information, with the data information which is stored in your computer. The third is to prevent disruption of service. So whatever business processes or whatever functions you carry on your computer, those functions need to be carried out or need to be executed seamlessly without any disruption, without any stoppage, or without any intrusion, that we would like to call it as. Key areas of concern in computer security: confidentiality. Confidentiality is roughly equivalent to privacy. Measures undertaken to ensure confidentiality must be designed to prevent sensitive information from reaching wrong people, while making sure that right people in fact get it. Access must be restricted to those authorized to view the data in question. It is common as well as for data to be categorized according to the amount of and type of damage that could be done should fall into unintended hands. More or less stringent measures need to be implemented according to those categories. The next is integrity. Integrity involves maintaining the consistency, accuracy, and trustworthiness of the data over its entire life cycle. Data must not be changed in transit. Means in exchange. Whenever you're trying to send data to somebody else, that's how we call data in transit. And steps must be taken to ensure data cannot be altered by unauthorized people. Unauthorized people basically who are not authorized to look into that data. These measures include file permissions and user controls. Version control may be used to prevent erroneous changes or accidental deletions of authorized users becoming a problem. A good example of methods used to ensure confidentiality is an account number or a routing number when banking online. Data encryption is a common method ensuring confidentiality. The next is availability. Availability is the best ensured by rigorously maintaining all the hardware, performing hardware repairs immediately when needed, and maintaining a correct functioning operating system environment that is free of software conflicts. It is also more important to keep the current system upgraded all the time. Providing adequate communication bandwidth and preventing occurrences of bottlenecks are equally important. Fast and adaptive disaster recovery is essential for the worst case scenarios. The capacity is reliant on the existence of comprehensive disaster recovery plan. Safeguards against data loss or interruptions in connections must include unpredictable events such as natural disaster and fire. Authentication. The modern computer systems provide services to multiple users and require the ability to accurately identify the user making request. In traditional computer systems, the user's identity is verified by checking a password typed during the login. The process of verifying the user's identity is called authentication. Password-based authentication is not suitable for use on computer networks. Passwords sent across networks can be intercepted and subsequently used by eavesdroppers. People who are listening to your conversations without your permissions is called as eavesdropping, to impersonate the users. In addition to security concern, password each time must be changed to access the network. This leads to the use of even weaker authentication on computer networks. Let's move on. Consequences of ignoring computer security. Let's look into it deeper. Consequences could be anywhere from loss of confidential data to loss in productivity, because whenever the data which is required for you to do a certain function is not available, this leads to loss in your productivity. Identity theft, definitely a very big concern for everyone. You need to protect your identity at all given costs, at all given times whenever you are accessing data over the internet. Compromised data integrity is a big concern that is happening if you ignore computer security in these days. Unavailability to access data or computer network. Definitely, if computer security is ignored, then you would not be able to access the data in your computer network. There could be legal consequences to it, where it may, ignorance of computer security may lead to lawsuits or judicial actions. In the worst case scenario, people might also face termination of employment. So this could be a very, very grave concern to all people using computers today, to make sure they follow the guidelines of computer security to the utmost. Types of computer security threats. Interruption. Now, if you're looking at the figure that we've mentioned, computer A is trying to communicate with computer B. There's an interruption. There's a wall in between, which is an interruption. So an interruption, in an interruption situation, an asset of the system becomes lost, unavailable, or unusable. Examples include destruction of a piece of hardware, such as hard disk, or cutting off the communication line, or disabling of the file management system. This could be an example of interruption. Next would be interception. Look at the figure again. An interception means that someone unauthorized has gained access to an asset. If you look at the figure, you can understand it more better. A third party, which is not a related party, can be a person or a program or a computing system which is basically gaining the access to the asset. The example of this type of failure are illicit copying of programs or data files, or wiretapping to obtain data in the network. Although a loss may be discovered fairly quickly, a silent interceptor may leave no traces by which interception cannot be readily detected. The next is modification. Look at the figure again. If an unauthorized party not only accesses but tampers with an asset, the threat is called as modification. For example, someone might change the values in database, alter a program so that it performs an additional computation, or modify data being transmitted electronically. It is even possible to modify hardware. Some cases of modification can be detected with simple measures, but others, more subtle changes, might be almost impossible to detect. Moving on. Fabrication. An unauthorized party might create a fabrication of counterfeit objects on a computing system. The intruder may insert spurious transactions to a network communication system, or add records to an existing database. Sometimes these additions can be detected as forgeries, but if skillfully done, they are virtually indistinguishable from the real thing, which means they cannot be distinguished from genuine things or genuine transactions than wrong transactions, basically. Examples include insertion of spurious messages in a network, or the additions of records to a file. Let's move on. What are the types of computer security threats? Now, threats are two ways. One is threats to hardware. Because the hardware that's used within the modern computers is relatively well protected against damage that can result from software faults, computer viruses seldom cause the failure of hardware components. However, hardware failure is still a possibility. A Trojan virus may perform repetitive action, for example, repeatedly opening and closing a CD or DVD tray in the computer, even though these electromechanical components are generally very reliable. This repeated opening and closing could eventually cause the CD or DVD drive to fail. If we cannot go into the recent past, there's an example that I can share with you. In the year 1999, a very famous virus called as the CIH virus, also known as the Chernobyl, disrupted several thousands of computers by deleting the data in the computer's flash BIOS. This made it impossible to boot or start the computer. The infected computers and repairs were very expensive these days, because computers then were really expensive. Home users, people who had computers at home, had to visit service centers in order to get the flash BIOS rewritten and restore the machine to working order. For many laptops, flash BIOS had been soldered directly to the motherboard. So in most cases, the cost of repair exceeded the cost of a new laptop. The second threat that we're talking about is software. Any software system that runs on a network-connected platform is likely to have its vulnerabilities exposed to attackers during its operation. Attacks may take advantage of publicly known but unpatched vulnerabilities, leading to memory corruption, execution of arbitrary exploit scripts, remote code execution, and buffer overflows. Software flaws can be exploited to install spyware, adware, and other malwares on user system that can lie dormant until it's triggered to execute. Let's move on. The third and most important threat is to the data. There are many different threats to computer system and the data stored in those computer systems. These threats increased considerably when computers started to be networked, but with the internet, they have become one of the most important considerations in managing a computer system. Data theft, data modification, data recovery, data deletion, unauthorized data access are the few threats to the data on a computer system. This brings us to another poll. Let me bring up this poll question for you. My computer is 100% secure because I have installed a security software on it. This could be a tricky question, so please think before you give your answer. The question is, my computer is, or my computing device is 100% secure because I have installed a security software. One, yes, my computer will be 100% secure. Second, I still may get induced in making mistakes. Third is, I don't know. This is a tricky question, audience, so please think well before choosing your answer. We have close to 50% of today's audience casted their vote. I would wait for another 10 or 15 seconds before all of the audience casts their vote, and then I can close the opinion poll and share the results with you. Mind you, again, the question is, my computer is 100% secure because I've installed a security software on it. I think we have close to 80% of today's audience casted the vote, so I will now close the opinion poll and share the results of opinion poll with you. Okay, so we have approximately 32% people saying that yes, my computer is 100% secure because I've installed a security software. We have 47% people saying that I may still get induced into making mistakes, and there are 21% people saying they don't know. So no need to worry. I'll explain this thing in little detail. People who saying yes, you have installed a security software and you think your computer is secure. This may not be the correct answer because there are a lot of other threats which are used in stealing your identity or stealing your personal information. Security software cannot protect you all the time if somebody tries to take that information from you away from the computer system. Second, people who've said they don't know, no need to worry because there are a lot of threats which are unknown to users of computer system because there are a lot of instances where we do not take precautionary measures on every single step which need to be taken. So what are these steps? I will now explain it to you. So the right answer for this question could be I may get induced into making mistakes. This could be the right answer. 47% people have given this answer. You are correct here because there are a lot of other things that you need to be very, very careful about when you access internet. And what are these things? Let's see it now. So I will take this. How do bad guys how do bad guys compromise your computer security? Social engineering. It is a way for criminals to gain access to information systems. The purpose of social engineering is usually to install a secret spyware or other malicious software, or to trick a person in handing over passwords or financial informations like your credit card number, etc., or your personal information like your email address or your home phone number, your address to your house, your postal address, I mean. Social engineering is one of the most effective routes to steal confidential data from individuals and from organizations. In a recent incident, researchers have uncovered a group of Wall Street savvy hackers which penetrated into email accounts of more than 100 companies. And in the entire event, uh, this in the entire event of this happening, they obtained highly valuable plans of corporate acquisitions or insider information of what the company's plans are from hundreds of computers from these hundreds of companies. So this was one of the instances where people lost or companies lost their data through social engineering attacks. What are the types of social engineering attacks? Baiting. Baiting involves dangling something to entice you to take an action as the criminal desires. It could be a form of music or a movie to be downloaded from a peer-to-peer site. It can be a USB flash drive with a company logo labeled, or it could be a file that could have a title such as Executive Salary Summary of Quarter 1 2014, which could be left out in the open for anybody to find and find that information. What could possibly happen if you access such kind of files? Uh, there could be a program that is installed in these kind of files. The person or the computer that the person is using can be infected with malicious software that allows the criminal to take advance on the system. Second is phishing, as we have spoken even earlier about. Phishing involves malicious emails, chats, or websites designed to impersonate real systems with the goal of capturing personal financial data. The message might come from a bank or other well-known institutions which need to verify an activity on your account or basically log in to your account. It is usually mocked up with a login page with right logos to look legitimate. It could also be a message claiming that you are a winner of some prize which has crazy figures like millions of dollars or millions of pounds written on it. Could be a lottery coupled with a request to hand over the bank information, or even a charity plea for a big disaster. We have seen these kind of emails floating whenever there are natural disasters happening, like the tsunamis that happened a few years ago. These criminals get active during after such events, and they send out these phishing messages. Pretexting is a human equivalent of phishing when someone impersonates an authority figure or someone who tries to gain the trust to hand over your login information to your bank. This is probably taking it on a phone. What does a person impersonate as? He can impersonate as a police authority or a lawful authority. He can impersonate himself as a tax authority or any legal authority. So which people generally get a little scared about. Reverse social engineering. It's an attack where attacker is a trustworthy entity. This is a variation that you frequently see in the televisions and the movies. So what does a reverse engineering attack do is you are possibly in a situation where you need you need a help. So a program is induced to your computer system which creates the damage part, and they come to repair the damage. So these kind of attacks are reverse engineering attacks. Then comes a virus. Virus is a program that replicates. In other words, it spreads from a file to file in your computer to a computer. In addition, it may be programmed to erase or damage data. A Trojan is a program that masquerades as something good but does something bad. So Trojan can be something that might look at as a good program, but it's not actually good. If you remember the story of the Greeks, you might possibly be able to relate to it. So the Greeks tried to enter the city of Troy in a wooden horse. So there were soldiers hidden in the wooden horse, and they went into the city of Troy, and they caught the enemy off guard, and they took over the city of Troy. So Trojan basically is the same concept used to attack a computer system. Trojans these days do not masquerade as anything. They are silent menace designed to be an unobtrusive as possible so as to not raise any suspicion. So they basically do silent work not to be traced in the computer system so that they can do whatever bad they can to compromise the security of your software. Ransomware, it's a malicious program. We very recently heard a lot of instances about ransomware. These are a classified kind of a Trojan where it restricts the access to use the computer programs by encrypting it, and then in return of giving you the full access to your own computer, it asks you basically for money. So they extract money, and the money that's been asked for is not small time. It ranges anywhere from a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000. So you have to pay money to use your own computer system. That's how these ransomware programs are designed to get money from you. The next are spywares. Spyware is a software that aids gathering information about a person or an organization without their knowledge. It sends the information to another entity without the consumer's consent. So probably spywares could be keyloggers. So whatever you type, your username, password, credit card number, whatever you type on a computer system is stored in a file and sent to a person who is a bad guy and who will use it against you. Rogue antivirus is also known as scareware. It's a fake program that disguises itself as a genuine software but performs malicious activities in the user's machine, machine or a computer. The program may install malware on the system, steal the user's data, or trick the user in doing fraudulent transactions. Rootkit is a program that in itself is not harmful but helps viruses and malwares hide from antivirus software. Rootkits are difficult to detect, but they are activated before your system's operating system has completely booted up. A rootkit often installs the installation software of hidden files, processes, hidden user accounts, and more in the system's operating system. Rootkits are able to intercept data from terminals. This brings us to the last poll of today. I will quickly bring up that poll question for you. Yeah. Sorry for this confusion. Okay, the question is, to safeguard your computer security, is it essential to have your operating system and all your programs up to date and patched? Let's hear it from today's audience. The question, I will repeat the question for today's audience. To safeguard your computer security, it means to ensure that your computer is secure. Is it essential to have your operating systems and all the programs or softwares that you use in your computer system, do they need to be up to date and patched? The answer is yes or no. We have about 50% of today's audience casted their votes. I would wait for another 10 seconds before I close today's opinion poll and share the results with you. Mind you, this is a little tricky question. The question is, to safeguard, which means to make your computer's security stronger, is it essential for your operating system, which is your whatever operating system you use? It may be Windows or it may be other operating systems that you use. Should that be patched or should it be kept up to date? So we have about 80% of today's audience casted their votes. I'm now going to close the opinion poll and share the results with you. 91% people of today's audience feel that your operating system needs to be patched, so it's exactly what should the answer should be. Your computer or the operating system and all the software that you use inside that computer needs to be up to date and needs to be patched. What happens in case your programs are not up to date or not patched is something that we would see in the next slides to come. So let's move on. Let's get the show going on. Top computer security actions that need to be taken by the end users. Patch. Set up computers for automatic software and operating system updates. You will find that in your Windows update system. An unpatched machine is more likely to have a software vulnerability that can be exploited. Install a security software. When you have a security software installed in a computer, it ensures that your computer is secure from not only from the threats of online viruses, but also from making sure your data is protected all the time with unauthorized, protecting against unauthorized access to your data. Choose a stronger password. Whenever you use a password to your system, make sure that it is a combination of letters, numbers, special characters which you have on the a combination of all this which will form a mental image in your mind, or an acronym or something, maybe a quote that you remember, something of that sort which you can easily remember, but which is a very difficult thing for others to guess, makes your system protected against real life threats. Most importantly, backup. Backing up your machine regularly can protect you from unexpected challenges. Backups on regular intervals make sure that files can be retrieved if needed. The next is control access to your machine. Don't leave your computer in unsecured area or unattended, logged on, especially in public places. The physical security of your machine is just as important as its technical security. Use emails and internet safely. Ignore unsolicited emails. Be wary of attachments, links, and forms in emails that come from people you don't know. The same rules that we follow in real life. Trust people whom you know. Don't trust people whom you don't know. The next, protect sensitive data. Reduce the risk of identity theft. I've explained earlier what identity theft is: personal identifiable information. Securely remove sensitive data files from your hard drive, which is also recommended when recycling or repurposing of your computer, especially when you give your computers for when you're selling it or when you're giving it to be used by others. Make sure you remove all the sensitive data from your computer before handing it over to somebody else. Use desktop firewalls. Macintosh and Windows computers have basic desktop firewalls as a part of their operating systems. When set up properly, these firewalls protect your computer files from being scanned. Use secure connections. When connected to the internet on the go, your data can be vulnerable to bad guys being intercepted. Always use remote connectivity and secure file transfer options. How does QuickHeal help you in ensuring security? Let's quickly see it. Advanced DNA scan. Now the advanced DNA scan is an indigenous QuickHeal DNA scan technology which is now enhanced to combine behavioral and characteristics inspection and monitoring of malicious programs. This results in a clean, more up-to-date and accurate threat detection. User can select from multiple threat level detections. The second is safe banking. This feature is designed to protect your online banking activities from fraudulent websites and malicious programs that steal financial information. This feature provides you with a safe desktop session where your financial transactions on banking portals, shopping websites, and other e-commerce websites stay private and hidden from hackers. Core protection. It assures complete protection of your computer with deep scam system through antivirus, anti-spyware, anti-malware, anti-rootkit, silent firewall, and intrusion detection as well as intrusion prevention systems. Firewall. Firewall comprises the stealth mode. When the mode is on, your PC becomes invisible in a network. This prevents hackers from tracing your system and attacking it. Firewall offers multiple settings that can configure depending on the level of protection you desire for your computer. You can set protection levels to high, medium, or low for internet traffic and applications that try to connect to your network. Vulnerability Scanner. This is a proactive antivirus feature in the QuickHeal software that notifies you of critical system vulnerabilities that can be used by the hackers to compromise the computer security and the data security in your computer. This feature also helps you to fix these vulnerabilities. The feature runs in the background as soon as you initiate a full system scan on your computer. Browser Sandbox. Browser Sandbox is a secure interface running on your web browsers, giving you an uninterrupted and secure browsing experience. It provides internet security by acting like a screen between the PC's operating system and the malicious threats on the internet. Web security. Real-time cloud-based security restricts access to malware-infected, fraudulent, and phishing websites. It prevents threats transferred through websites hosting malicious codes as you surf the internet. Email security. QuickHeal Total Security gives you cloud-based email security that prevents scam, phishing, and infected emails from reaching your inbox. Anti-spam blocks spam and phishing junk mails from reaching inbox, and this uses a live cloud-based protection to check suspicious files, restricting malware before it reaches your inbox. This brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much for joining us on today's webinar. If you have any questions, as there were some technical things involved in today's webinar, you can always write to us at corporateCommunications@quickheal.co.in with your questions. Please do mention this slide number if possible, because that will help us give the best answer to your questions. In case you want to follow us on Facebook, the address is facebook.com/quickhealav. You can also follow us on our Twitter handle, which is twitter.com/quickheal. You can watch the recording of today's webinar on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/quickheal, and you can see the presentation which will be hosted on SlideShare at slideshare.net/quickhealppts. For more information about QuickHeal products, please visit www.quickheal.com. To know more about this information on upcoming virus activities and upcoming security news, please visit blogs.quickheal.com. I will now hand over the mic to Saurabh to conclude the session. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.
Thank you for being with us for this webinar. We hope the webinar has helped you understand the computer security threats in a better manner. Have a good day ahead. Goodbye.